Hey what team, how's it going? Welcome back to today's video. We are talking about Russia and Ukraine. We haven't done one of these for a while. I did quite a few at the beginning and I've sort of left it. Let's just sort of see what happens, hoping that it was going to end, but it hasn't, sadly. It is continuing. So what we'll do is we'll just have a look, see what's going on, see what news is out there. I'll give you my thoughts on some of it. And then yeah, just comment below what you think in this video, and I'll answer in the comments, and I can look to do a video on that in the future. But let's see what's going on. So we've got a live map of what's going on in Ukraine. It seems pretty up to date. It continually updates. First time I've had a look at it, but let's just sort of see what is going on. As you can see, they are struggling to the north and the northeast around there, and then they seem like they're a lot stronger in the south. But from what I have read recently, the Ukrainians are pushing back and starting to take back major cities that they did lose. But what the Russians really want to do, you don't really know Putin's plan. Obviously he wants to take over and stop the Ukrainian government. How fast he would have liked to have moved so far, no one really knows. 13 days in, it's not actually that long. He most probably maybe would have liked to have already won the war by now, but 13 days isn't actually that long. You look at World War I, II, 4 and 5 years, other sort of wars that have happened. He's, the amount of assets and manpower he's put into this. Yeah, it's 13 days isn't that long. The casualties are definitely starting to rack up, but in the south looking quite strong. What you're going to want to do really is, you can see all the red where they are. You want to sort of connect that up. If you can strengthen all that and surround the border, you can then start closing into the centre, and then even start stretching out to the west. At the minute he's got gaps here, little pockets. It's basically just little weaknesses, isn't it? So what I can see, if he's going to try and do anything, you don't just want all of these little pockets just pushing into the centre, because then you're just going to have little like Ukrainian cells. You can have little teams, battalions can start slotting through, and then they're going to start attacking you from either side and even start coming up your rear. So if you can sort of strengthen that, he's got the manpower to do this if he really wanted to put all his assets in. Whether he's got the money and the actual capabilities to sort of fund that, and the logistics, we know he's got the manpower, especially including the reserves. It's within the millions, so that's not a problem. It's just kit and equipment, fuel, food, water, ammunition, etc. How long can this go on for? And this is including with the sanctions, which we'll discuss in a minute. But yeah, if you can strengthen all this around here, start filling in these little pockets here, and then basically have that all red, Russian territory, secure all that. This is my opinion, obviously. You can then start pushing in. You can then start pushing in from the north, start taking down Kiev. Once you take the capital, then that's a big win, isn't it? And then the rest will mostly fall quite quickly, so Kiev does need to remain strong. How long this is going to last, you just don't know. You read a lot of reports that the Russians are stalling, especially because of logistics, like I said, money. The Ukrainians are pushing back. How long can the Ukrainians hold this out? Once again, money, logistics, food, water. We know they're running low on food. Imports is hard at the minute, and they're sort of coming through the Polish border. Flights are pretty much non-existent, isn't it? So they're going to struggle as well. How much can their civilians and their army and their reserves fight this off for as well? So it could become a bit of a stalemate between the two, possibly, depending on logistics and capabilities. But that's, if I was Russian, that's my personal opinion. I would recommend it. I would most probably say that's the best thing you can do. You can start filling in this, strengthening all that around here, strengthening all this, strengthening all that. You can then do some major resupplies, build some defences, make sure that's nice and strong, and then you can start pushing forward again. So that's what I reckon he will start doing. There's no point all this just pushing into the centre, and then this is all weak. This, you know, could be pretty strong, but if he hasn't got it up here, then he could start to lose. That's my personal opinion. But let's just sort of move on from there. Looking at sort of live updates, Ukraine says no longer insisting on NATO membership. This is a big one. The US has banned all Russian oil imports. So this is obviously big for Russia. I believe this is like their biggest sort of economic assets. This brings in the majority of their money. Has Putin really thought this out, and he's got a lot of money put to the side and they've cut spending to ride this out for a few years? Who knows, but that's a big hit. I believe they export 7 million barrels of oil per day. 7 million barrels, and I reckon US are a big importer of about 7 million. So that's a big one. The US have completely banned Russian imports, oil imports, which is going to send oil prices skyrocketing, because they definitely can't. There's nowhere globally that they can replace this oil. So you've seen it here. Is UK going to do the same? We've already seen oil, gas prices, and fuel prices skyrocketing. I saw one place for like 167, 174 petrol and diesel respectively. Majority of places are easy in the 150s, 160s now for petrol and diesel. Can people keep affording that? My gas price has pretty much doubled as of 1st of April. What's everyone else is going to do? Are people going to be able to afford this? You know, everyone's suffering now, nowhere near as much as the Ukrainians. They've got it really tough, and we do hope this ends for them soon. But globally, this is affecting everyone, especially with all these sanctions that they're going to start putting on people. Talk about affecting people. It's affecting sports stars. You know, Nikita Mazepin's F1 career is over. He come as a package deal, as this says. So his dad is a billionaire from Russia. He has major ties with Putin apparently, but Mazepin's only been in for a year, but because they cancelled their sponsor, the Haas team cancelled their sponsor, he's lost his seat because he come with the sponsor. So people are suffering. It says here, you've got Motorsport Australia and other motorsport bodies are banning Russian licence holders. I'm 50-50 on this. I really do feel Ukrainian people and stuff, but are they all on side with Putin? This is what we got to think, because one man's decision, all these have to suffer. If it's going to put a stop to it, then that's obviously what we need to do, but it's proven that they can work together. If you check this out here, you've got this video is from the Arnold Classic, and here you've got Novikov, a well-known Ukrainian strongman, one of the best in the world at the minute, and then you've got Makarov there, who's actually Russian, and they just competed in the weekend just gone at the Arnold Strongman Classic out in Ohio, I believe it was, if I remember rightly. So they actually competed together, which is really nice to see. That can actually be done, but there are a lot of sports stars suffering. There's talks of Olympians and stuff that shouldn't be allowed to thingy, but then there is sort of Putin sympathisers. We've seen a gymnast with the letter Z on. Let's see if we can find it. Here we go. And then you've got people like this. So yeah, people like him should be banned. Russian Z, which means for victory. You know, Russian gymnast Ivan Kuliak, who brandished his Z symbol at the competition, says he has no regrets. So he was actually allowed to perform, and then I believe he stood on the podium in third, and his Ukrainian competitor stood on top winning gold, and he wore that next to him, which is absolutely shocking to see. So like people like that should be banned, that not everyone's going to be sympathising. And then the next big story is this: McDonald's has finally bows to the pressure So a lot of people have been asking to boycott places like, or brands like Coca-Cola and McDonald's. Netflix had suspended all sales in Russia, and so have other companies, but McDonald's are actually carrying on. But literally only recently, about an hour ago, McDonald's has decided to close all 850 stores, I believe it is. 850 restaurants, and they're still going to pay the 62,000 jobs for the employees there. Only 16% of McDonald's are actually franchised in Russia, so the majority of them are owned by McDonald's. It's most probably a lot easier for them to close them, but that's now been done. Other major imports, so there's a main company that own companies like Dove, etc. That's all stopping imports into Russia now, so the economy could possibly crush and crumble. So is this the end for Putin? Because you're taking down people's livelihoods. Okay, they're still going to receive their income, but they're not working, and the franchises, businesses, they're going to be shut. Like I said, Russian oils from the US, are other countries going to follow? So are we going to see the Russian economy completely crumble? Now, we all had a feeling that he could possibly ride out these sanctions, but are these sanctions too much? What's he going to do? Is he going to stop, or is he going to push back? He says he will push back. He's going to turn off gas and energy supplies if this oil ban goes ahead. If that goes ahead, that could have major global effects. So we'll have to see what happens. That's where we're at the minute. I will do another video in a few days to see where we're at. Comment below what your thoughts are, what you think is going to happen, and we can go from there. Let's just hope it ends for the Ukrainian people soon, and I'll catch you soon.